In the heart of Rumuma, a village in Rivers State, lived two brothers, Kanayo and Abeluma. They lived under the same roof of their late father, a great farmer and merchant. Kanayo, the elder, was a man of ambition, strong and determined, while Abeluma, the younger one, was blessed with the wisdom and the heart of gold. Together, they tilled the land and traded in the markets and built their father's name into prosperity. Then, one evening, an old woman known in the village for her airy prophecies came to Kanayo as he sat by the river brooding over his fortune. Her voice was like the whisper of the wind, carrying words that would forever change his fate.
Your brother Abeluma will be greater than you,
she said.
His wealth will surpass yours, and his name will be sung throughout generation. Even your own children won't be as great as his. If you will walk with your brother, you will find your own fruit and your divine purpose in life.
The dark seed of envy took root in Kanayo's heart. He did not like what the old woman said. Then he thought, why can't he be the greater of the two of them? What does she mean if I work for my brother? I am the eldest now. He should work for me instead. He was so angry with what the old woman said. Each day, as he watched Abeluma, his younger brother, prosper, his range festered. His brother's farm flourished, his livestock multiplied, and the love of Nneka, the most beautiful woman in Rumuma, whom Kanayo had once desired, was now happily married to Abeluma. Abeluma and Nneka were happily married with a son, but the thoughts of Abeluma being with Nneka and Abeluma prospering and becoming wealthier than him made him feel very bitter, and this made life unbearable for him. One fateful night, Kanayo lured Abeluma deep into the forest under the guise of a hunt. As the moon cast its pale glow upon the trees, Kanayo held his brother's arm, pretending as if he wanted to talk to him and asked him to wait there. And then, from behind, he carried a stone and then hit his brother. Abeluma gasped for breath, his eyes filled with pain and betrayal, before the light in them faded forever and he was gone. Kanayo returned to the village, pretending to be sad, saying that a wild animal had injured his brother and his brother died. Abeluma's wife was so sad that she cried and cried and cried for days, while Kanayo was pretending to be sorry for his brother's loss. The weeks that followed, Kanayo took all the belongings of Abeluma, his wealth, his land, and even his beloved wife, Nneka, who wept for her husband but had no choice but to stay with Kanayo because she needed his protection from other men in the village and also to care for her child. Kanayo thought he had won, that he had rewritten his fate. Then one night, while he was resting in his room, the old woman returned. Standing at his door in the dead of the night, her wrinkled face was twisted in fury and her eyes glowing with outwardly fire.
You have split innocent blood for greed,
she said, pointing her bony finger at him.
For this, you are cursed.
Kanayo felt the coldness seep into his bone, deeper than he had ever known.
You shall never die, no matter how much you beg for it. Generation will come and go before your eyes, and you will remain a wanderer of the earth. You will build empire, create wealth for other people, but none of it will you ever enjoy. Your hand will toil for others, and your heart will never ever know peace. Remember, you shall never die. You will see generations upon generations. That is the curse we bestow on you.
Kanayo fell to his knees, screaming in agony as the weight of the curse settled upon him. He fled Rumuma, hoping to escape these old woman's words. But the curse followed him. He became a man without a home, traveling from kingdom to kingdom, building wealth for kings, merchants, and even strangers, but never for himself. Years turned into centuries, and Kanayo watched as time erased all memories of his past. Nneka, the woman he had stolen, had grown old and died, as did all who came after her. His name became a whisper among the spirits, and though he longed for death, it never ever came. He roamed the earth, a man with riches beyond measure, but his hand too coarse to touch them nor to enjoy it. And with each passing generation he wept, knowing that he had traded his soul for nothing but eternal suffering. Kanayo wandered from land to land, witnessing the rise and fall of civilization, watching the world change in ways he could never have imagined. He built great palaces for kings, he advised mighty emperors, and always his reward was nothing but emptiness. When he touched gold, it slipped through his fingers like water. When he loved, his beloved would age and die before his eyes, leaving him behind in undying sorrow. He tried to plead with the gods, traveling from sacred temple to temples and consulting with powerful diviners, but none was able to lift his cause. Every holy man he met recoiled from him when they saw what he had done and sensed the weight of his sin. He grew weary, but the cause would not allow his body to fail. Hunger did not kill him, nor did thirst kill him, nor did the sword of enemies who injured him in a war kill him. As the years turned into centuries, he became a myth, a shadow that whispered through history. Some called him the man who could not die. Others feared him as a wandering spirit who brought misfortune. He lived in the shadows, far away from people and from villages and towns. Building fortune for others was all he did, creating wealth for others to enjoy, but he would never ever enjoy it. He was cursed to roam the surface of the earth in despair. One day, he decided to return to Rumuma to find the old woman, hoping that perhaps in the place of his sin he might find a way to end his suffering. But the village had changed. It was no longer the land of his youth. The people were different, the houses were new, new constructions had gone on, and no one knew him. No one had even ever heard his name. He then went to search for the grave of his brother, but there was none. Abeluma's memory had been erased, as though the land itself had forgotten him. Desperate, he went to the old woman's hut, only to find it abandoned. The roof had caved in, the wall covered in moss, yet as he turned to leave, he heard her voice in the wind.
Kanayo, your cause still remains.
The voice whispered.
It will remain to the end of time. Man must always pay for his sins. This is karma for you.
And so, with a heavy heart, Kanayo walked away, knowing that he would never find peace, he would never know rest. He would continue to roam the earth as the wealthiest yet poorest man on earth, forever seeking an end that will never ever come. If you have enjoyed our story, kindly subscribe to our channel if you have not. And for our returning subscriber, I want to say a very big thank you for always supporting us. Thank you for always listening to our story. Let us know your opinion about this story in the comment section. We'll see you in the next story.